We got the one and only Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms from Atlanta.
Yes.
How you doing this morning?
I'm good, Ricky. How are you today?
Hey, blessed and highly favored. Shout out to all the Sarahs.
Ooh.
Hey, the Mayor of Atlanta. So I'm really excited to have you on this morning because you coming on to talk about the Atlanta child murders that we hadn't heard about in years. So you what are y'all doing with it now?
Well, it's been nearly 40 years since the first children formally were named as part of the missing and murdered children in Atlanta. There were nearly 30 children who disappeared and young adults and were ultimately found, all with the exception of one 10-year-old boy. And it was just a tragedy upon tragedy in our community. I was a little girl during that time, so I very much remember the terror that surrounded all of us. But what we are doing now are a few things. We have announced a task force to create a memorial for these children. And also I have asked our police department and also our district attorney's office, and joined by the FBI and the GBI, to take a fresh look at these cases, because there have been lingering questions for decades as to whether or not the person who was ultimately convicted of two of the murders of the young adults was responsible for the other 20-some odd children who disappeared and were found murdered.
Right. Is Wayne Williams still living?
He is, and he is still in prison. And, you know, for me, Ricky, this isn't about Wayne Williams. And I know many of the families don't think that he was actually guilty of all of these murders.
Right.
But it really is just about these children and making sure that the world knows that their lives matter, and they still matter. And it is, it's been interesting to me, just the amount of emotion and stirring in my spirit that I've had after 40 years about this. And I can only imagine, if I'm so deeply impacted, what this must still mean to these families.
Yeah, I remember it as well. And that was a scary, scary time. And I remember the news, you know, when the news stories would come on every time they would find a child missing. And that was a horrifying time.
It was, and you remember, because we are around the same age, there was either a child who was missing, they were in the midst of looking for a body, or they had just found a body. And this went on from 1979 to 1981. But in looking at the cases, the police department has gone back from 1970 to 1985 to make sure that this list is comprehensive, and one, that the murders stopped when we think that we caught the killer, but also to make sure that there aren't other children who should have been included on that list. What we know now, there were 158 children killed during this time.
What?
That's a significant amount. 33 of those cases are still unsolved. And so for as much as we thought that we knew, we are continuing to discover additional information. And with the creation of DNA national databases, we know that each and every day people are uploading information. We don't know if there'll be DNA to be tested.
Right.
But I think the fact that we are taking a new look at this, I think is significant for the families, and also hopefully will give us all the answers we've been looking for the last 40 years.
Well, I just think with DNA or whatever, and if they collect the samples from DNA from people that have possibly did some of this stuff and connected to some of the DNA that they have that's still in evidence, if they still have it, you never know what you might find out.
You don't, and I think, Ricky, again, you got to remember, this was before social media, this was before the internet, and I think it's hard for any of us to fathom that nearly 30 black children, all of whom were boys, there were 2 girls who were murdered, literally would disappear off of our streets daily.
Wow.
And I can't, as a mother, I can't imagine what it was like to be a parent during that time, and also what it must feel like for these families. And it's what has struck me is that so many people have never even heard of this, because people in the studio weren't even born 40 years ago. Right.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there anything on the public side that we can do to help you and support you in everything that you're trying to do with these cases?
Well, with the creation of this task force, we know that there will be a recommendation and very likely some expenses involved. We'll keep you posted on that, depending on how significant of a memorial this would be. But I think most importantly, I just ask your listeners to continue to lift these families up in prayer and continue to lift this investigation up, that there is something that continues to stir our spirits about this.
Right.
That it be revealed.
Right. Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show. And again, congratulations, on being the mayor of Atlanta. We are so proud of you. We love everything that you're doing. We support you. And let everybody know how you can be reached if they have any questions concerning this case or anything.
Well, I appreciate that. And I just want to again thank you for embracing me even before I became the mayor. There are not a whole bunch of people outside of my mama and them who believed that I could do it, and you were one of those people.
You know what? You know what was so cool? You just walked up to me like a sub. You're like, bruh. I was like, what up, Sarah? Because I knew you was Sarah. You said, what up, bruh? I said, what up, Sarah? You're like, look, I'm running for mayor. What's up? I said, hey, what's up? What you got? Let's do this.
That's right.
And here we are.
You know how to pick a winner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So my social media handles are at Keisha Bottoms, KeishaBotttoms. And if I don't answer personally, someone else on behalf of me will respond. And we'll make sure that if there's anything that people would like to assist with or any information they have, that it's passed on appropriately.
And can you tell Black Tony that you are not the same Keisha that's married to Gucci Man?
But she's cute, though. All Keishas are cute. So when I saw him, I said, you got you a Keisha, too. That's hot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of Atlanta, Keisha Lance Bottoms. Thank you so much.